Let's welcome to the show Michael Lohan, who's a Hollywood celebrity and recovery expert. How about that, Michael? You like that?
I don't know about an expert. I'm getting there, though.
Are you?
Get around. Well, when you surround yourself in it so much, and I own treatment centers now. It's there's nothing like on-the-job experience. There's nothing you can learn in a book that you don't.
Is that you? I mean, so are you saying you're speaking from experience? You had a drug problem?
When I worked on Wall Street, absolutely, in my 20s. Yeah, I mean, every weekend I was a weekend warrior. From the minute the bell rang on the floor of the exchange on a Friday till Sunday, when I had to get ready for work again, was off to the races.
So how long have you been, clean?
On February 23rd, I'll have 10 years. That's
pretty good.
Yeah, I would have had 17 and a half years, but I slipped up on February 23rd of 2005.
Okay. Now, and believe me, I don't mean, you've probably heard this before, and I don't know you, so please don't think I'm attacking you. Well, what do you say to those who say, oh, yeah, Michael Lohan, he had a drug problem, his daughter, we all know your daughter, she's very high profile, good commercial. I thought it was kind of like she made, fun of herself and family problems. Yeah, he's just doing this because, it's a way for him to make some money.
As a matter of fact, to me, it's not. I scholarshiped 8 people this month into my treatment center. It's not about the income; it's about the outcome.
No, I understand. I'm just asking. I mean, do you get that image?
No.
Do you fight that? Does that ever come up? I'm just being curious.
Sure, it does. I mean, come on. I mean, first of all, let me say this: Lindsay's clean for 17 months now.
That's great.
So proud of her, and she's doing really well with all the pressure she's under, which she normally would have succumbed to in the past. But, yeah, people are going to come against us. But I know why. I do this because I want to help people, and I've helped a lot of people. I mean, go on my Facebook and take a look at all the people that write in and say, you saved my life. And you know what? That's what it's about. Where the treasure is, there also is the heart. I mean, that's what it says in the Bible. And I really believe in that.
Okay, well, I think that's good. I mean, I'm just asking. We're talking to Michael Lohan, who's and his website is careflorida.com, insighttorecovery.com. Now, this might sound like a goofy question because we all know drugs aren't good for you. But why do you think so many Americans turn to drugs when so many of them do know, they're not good for you? Right? I mean, does it make any sense?
Well, it's an addiction. Sure, it does, but it's an addiction, and the reason why we turn to drugs or people turn to drugs is because it's so readily available. I mean, it's disgusting what's on the streets these days. When I was growing up in the 80s, there was maybe some Quaaludes, there was definitely alcohol, and there was cocaine, and very seldom, and marijuana, of course.
Right.
Very seldom were there pills or were there, you didn't have all the opiates that are out there and the benzos, but the government has sanctioned the production and distribution of so many prescription medications out there. It's become an epidemic, and it's horrible. I mean, doctors have a free hand to write scripts, and they're incentivized to write so many scripts that, it's become a really, really major problem here in the country. Between drugs and human trafficking, I mean, this society is turning into chaos. It really is.
Now, so you're saying, okay, so what I hear you saying is, not that cocaine or heroin or anything isn't a problem. What you're saying, it sounds like this pain medication is what's gotten really out of hand. I mean, like the Oxycontin and the Norpros and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. But the problem is now that they're writing so many scripts for the oxys and so on and so forth. The government cracked down on all the pill mills, and now heroin is so cheap and it's all over the place that people are turning to heroin. And between New York, New Jersey, and Boston, I get 5 to 6 people a week coming into treatment just from heroin alone.
Did you want to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, Michael, I just had a question here. Do you think that maybe in an effort, when we're parents, we want everything to be perfect, your kids to be happy, and do you think maybe we have ingrained an idea that life isn't that difficult, and maybe that's why people are turning to drugs, and especially like the antidepressants, and should the message we be giving at a younger age that, look, this is going to be tough, life is really tough, instead of, hey, if you're not happy, there's something you can do about it?
You're exactly right. You hit the nail right on the head. You see, I don't know about when you were growing up. I'm 54 years old right now. When we had issues, life issues we had to deal with, we dealt with them on our own terms. We didn't have all these drugs or addiction specialists and psychiatrists all over the place where you could go in and right away they say you're bipolar, you have depression, you have anxiety, so on and so forth.
That's right. We lived with it. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me just add to that. I said this a couple times on the show. Every single, and I'm not. This is no knock at our soldiers. Every other soldier, if not everyone, has got PTSD. What do you think about those soldiers in World War I and II? There was no such thing as PTSD, like you said.
Shock.
Okay, they didn't know from any of that stuff. They came home. They dealt with it on their own terms. Most of them got married. They had families. They paid their mortgages. They put money away from retirement, and that was like to me the greatest generation. Now, what you hear now about what these soldiers go through, I love history. I think back. Look at all those guys. Look at all those poor fellas. So, but my point is, they didn't have all this crap. They go to the doctor and they say, like you say, here's an antidepressant, here's some Prozac, here's some Xanax. It'll calm you down. Exactly. It'll make you sleep better. And let me just jump in and I'll let you take it here. Yesterday we had a doctor on. I'll tell you what I think the big problem is too, Michael. Kids are on drugs from the time they're 2-3 years old. What do I mean? Ritalin. That's amphetamines. Yep. Okay.
Prozac.
Okay.
Yep.
That's okay. So when they're 3 and 4 years old and 5, because they're drooling in class, or because they're, they fidget, or they're hyper, or they're acting like boys. Let's take that little edgy kid and shove some Ritalin down his throat. Okay. And now he's 16, 17. You take him off of it. It's like he's going through withdrawals.
You just went through a whole slew of questions that really need to be answered, the statements that you made that are very valid. Number one, let's go back to PTSD. PTSD doesn't only apply to people in the military. Post-traumatic stress disorder it can come from a divorce. It can come from a rape. It can come from years of abuse. That's exactly what it is. I mean, it does apply to the military, but when you look at the older generation of the military from World War I and World War II, you see all these older gentlemen standing up there receiving awards now and at ceremonies that aren't addicted to drugs. All these other poor guys in today's Army and military are all in psych wards, so they're on the streets, or they do have their families, but they're on all sorts of medication. And it is a shame because it's the first thing they resort to, just like you just said. Just like kids these days, they put them on Ritalin. They don't need them.
They don't.
People develop imbalances with their brain chemistry from using the medication.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you see, even with a drug addict, when a drug addict uses, whether it's alcohol or any kind of benzos or opiates or amphetamines, their brain chemistry gets all messed up. Then they go into treatment and they say, okay, well, you have depression, anxiety, bipolar, and they put them on more non-narcotic medication. When, in truth, if you put them into treatment and get them healthy, their brain chemistry will stabilize and they don't need anything to survive. You're taught to deal with life on life's terms. But life isn't that complicated. We complicate it.
There's no question about it. Look. No, but people have good bravado a lot of times. Nobody's got it figured out. Nobody. Okay, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what kind of celebrity you are. I don't care what nobody's got it figured out. Okay, nobody. You think they do? You don't. To this, to that, but they all got to turn to something. And listen, I like a vodka here and there. No question about it. I mean, a big deal. Yeah, sometimes it mellows you out, but it's like you're not always like. To me, it's almost like a treat. It doesn't become part of your daily life. You're coming home and you're shikering and you have 2 and 3, martinis, and then you take a sleeping pill before you go to bed. And I think it's so many tentacles there. It's big pharma. Okay, you've got these huge corporations and most of the drug companies and own the media that are pounding it down your throat. I never understood a drug commercial. Never. It's like, to me, it's like always a call to action. What I'm saying, like you're looking to sell a box of cereal or something, Cheerios or whatever it is. The drug stuff, all they do obviously is tell you about it. Blah, 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 like, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-boo. I'm like, I never, from day one, I was like, what are you pitching me on this drug for? I mean, and how much is it? Or, they're just pitching you to ask your doctor about it. Oh, yeah, I think I have a pain on my belly button. Let me go call the doctor because I saw this commercial because I can't get rid of it. She calls the guy up to make an appointment. Oh, okay. And he writes up the script. This is a big thing, too. It's the media, too.
No, and you're very right. And think about this. Think about the drug commercials for all the medications that are out there. It's people dancing in a field. It's people sitting by a stream with their family. They glorify it. They're making it look like, take this and you're going to have a happy life. When in truth, you take it, you're going to get addicted to it, and your life is going to be miserable.
Yeah, it's like Coke commercials. Yeah, pull down those 40 grams of sugar on a 12-ounce can of Coke. You know, things are going to be great today. I mean, what are you kidding me?
It's all relative. You're
it's
right.
all, and also, you know, what also gets me, well, it might cause diarrhea, suicide, genocide, this aside, that aside. I'm like, my God in heaven. You see, because a lot of people don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. I used to do, not that I'm no expert, but I remember I used to be a co-host for Boring as Hell, but I learned a lot on a chiropractic show. And I remember forget the doctor saying, you know what? Humans are human, and every single drug out there is synthetic. Okay? Every single one. And we're really not, geared. Now, yes, in a trauma situation, I mean, God forbid you break your arm or your leg or you need pain medication, a trauma, that's a different story. But, that's how they practice this, whether you believe it or not, the holistic thing, because, your body heals itself. Your brain can heal itself if you eat right, if you exercise a little bit, if you go to sleep, if you can straighten yourself out. But people don't. They go to that pill.
Right. And there are a lot of remedies out there. The government just won't allow them. I mean, there's ibogaine clinics and all these different kind of homeopathic and holistic approaches that they take. But we have to exercise them outside the United States because it'll put the drug industry to shame. And there is something out there that you should really look into.
What's that?
There's a drug out there called naltrexone. We're using it on a lot of our habitual relapsers. It's for alcohol and for opiates. It's an inhibitor. It blocks your receptors. You do not have any cravings whatsoever. I've had people in anywhere from 10 to 30 treatment centers that relapse over a number of years that do take naltrexone now, and they don't even use.
How do you spell it? How do you spell
it? NAL.
Yeah.
TR.
Yeah.
EXONE.
Okay, naltrexone. Got it. Hey,
yeah,
isn't it? How about a one of those things so you don't go for the Oreos? Is that included? Does that help with the food?
Yeah, I wish. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old. I'm going to be going for those backs pretty soon.
What'd you say? You have a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old at 54?
Nice.
What are you, Superman? Yeah. What are you, out of your mind? You're one of those guys that does. I don't mean this against you personally. I never understood who those guys that can do it again. I don't know if I think you're out of your mind or I admire you. I have 2 kids, 27, 24. Love them dearly. They're the greatest things in the world. But, again? I don't know.
Well, Michael, just tell the truth. It's amazing.
Good for you.
It's amazing what happens when you're in love with a woman and you actually want to be with her.
Well, it's amazing. You know what? Everything has come so in such full circle in my life with my other kids, with Lindsay, Michael, Allie, and Cody, that everyone is on such great terms. They see my 2 young children. It's been wonderful. But, things in life happen, and it's a blessing.
No, it's great
to have young children.
You got a lot of courage.
And I will say this. It's amazing that we're talking about this because when Kate was having my son, my new son, Logan, she went into labor at 10:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And they thought it would be, a couple of hour labor.
Yeah.
And she had a fall the month before while she was pregnant, so she had back pain. So they gave her Ativan and fentanyl in the hospital, which are powerful painkillers. She had my son 31 minutes later. He came out. He cried. 15 seconds later, he stopped breathing and his heart stopped. And they actually had to give him Narcan, which is an opiate stripper. They used the Narcan on people that overdose on heroin.
Wow. Man.
So those painkillers that they used on her went right to the baby, and then the same thing people are taking in treatment centers. And if you're not careful with them, you're killing people. I mean, the only way you can take them out of it is by strip, and sometimes it's too late. But I mean, it's just horrible that they use these things so readily.
But like you say, treatment centers. But what do people know? They go to the treatment centers to get treated, and you see what I'm saying? And then they just take it for what. Take this, you'll be fine. They go. That's why they go to the treatment center, because they're going for direction, and you're being misguided.
Right, and that's why I started my own. I worked for treatment centers for so long, and they had programs, and I changed the programs to where they worked. And then once they get to a place where they're making a lot of money, then they then they see it's all about dollars. And I said, screw this. I'm doing this on my own, and I'm going to do it the right way. And we do implement the naltrexone. We do give one-on-one therapy every day. We do address PTSD. We have EMDR, which is a great, deep, subconscious therapy. So you really need to attack, the triggers for people using drugs. And treatment centers don't do that. They just think you can come in there and they'll fix it by putting you on other medication. That's not illegal, and you're going to be okay. That's not the way.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. You've been most informative. I mean, I don't know the world of that, and I sure hope maybe we helped a few people because to me, again, you go to the treatment center. That's why you go to the treatment center. But so real fast in 10 seconds. So what would you say if someone has a drug problem for them to find out how would they be able to validate what would be a good treatment center real quick?
Well, look, there's a couple of them out there, and I say a couple out of the tens of thousands that are out there. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but our place at Insight to Recovery is fantastic.
Okay, you're down where? In Florida?
We're down in Florida. It's a great program. Our number is 561-894-8693, or you can go to the website for insighttorecovery.com. But there's other ones. If we're not appropriate for some people, we send them out, and we will find the right place. For example, when Lindsay had to go to treatment, and it wasn't appropriate ethically for her to come to my place,
right,
she went to Cliffside, and I spoke to Richard Tate, the owner, and I said, Rich, this is what she needs, and he built a program for my daughter, and by the grace of God, because of him, and because of the knowledge that we've gained in this business, Lindsay is better today. So find the right treatment program, and if you call us, and we're not the right one, we will find the right one for you.
All right, Michael, thanks for coming on, buddy.
All right, guys. God bless you. And this was one of the better interviews I had. You guys really hit the nail on the head.
Good. Well, we'd love to have you on again.
All right. Well, God bless you. Thank you so
God
much.
bless you, too, Bye-bye. And God bless you to your new family. InsightRecovery.com. Check it out. If they can't help you, they'll send you where you need to go. Nothing worse than having a monkey on your back, folks. More to come with the Pinkus.